A $5 super thanks here on our mailbag from Empire We Are. This was in reference to our winners and losers video. It says, biggest winners and losers? Shit, that's why I'm here, Tom. I don't have time or the inclination to watch the preseason. I get it. I got you guys covered, though. We will still have winners and losers after each Cowboys preseason game. Hopefully more winners than what there were in week 1. Now, every super thanks, $5 or above, gets you in to our preseason week 2 raffle. Empire We Are is in already. The rest of the super thanks you're about to see on the mailbag actually were eligible for last week's. They were all included. One of the super thanks we'll see from William actually was the winning entry, by the way, for one of the raffles. From Rick, just says, thanks. Got you, Rick. I appreciate that. From Richard, says, thanks in for the jersey. So Richard and Rick were both in. I guess Rick and Rich kind of similar. Skeptical fans, got a couple here. He says, this is in reference to the Malik Davis signing. Another great move by the Jones family. I feel so much better. He says, recycling garbage players. I'd rather stick with Deuce Vaughn. I'll say this. This came in before Malik Davis. Actually played pretty well in the preseason game. But also, the purpose of adding Malik Davis was not to make the 53-man roster. It was to give the Cowboys someone who knew the offense kind of a chance to get in tight with an instant day turnaround and help out the sheer lack of numbers the Cowboys had. That's what that was. Relative to expectations, it made sense, but it gets an A grade for what it was, but the grading scale was out of 10, not out of 100, so you're not getting a high grade anyway. Andres Yabarvo, one day, again, these all came in before kickoff, preseason kickoff. I mean, whose dentures do you have to pull to get a Micah Parsons deal already? And similar, our winner from William Cook says at some point this whole thing, meaning the Micah Parsons situation, will be over and we'll look back on it as stupid. Jerry is more interested in winning the deal than winning the games. Also, Colin Cowherd hates the Cowboys. He does. The issue with Jerry trying to win the deal is that they don't win the deal. That's the problem. You say you're going to win the deal, and by waiting, you actually lose it worse. That's the crux of the issue. Mighty Ant says the effing Jones boys, which, yeah, I feel you there. And also said, when are we going to get a playable DT and corner? Look, the Jones boys, I'll answer the playable DT one here in a second, but like, the frustration over the Jones boys is always something. So this is your chance, a safe space to vent. One word to describe your feelings about the Jones boys. I guess there are YouTube censors you have to be aware of, but keep that one in mind. Give me your one word to describe how you feel about the Jones boys. Pin comment of today's show. Mighty Ant, we're going to get a playable DT and corner. I mean, they did it mid-August last year, right? They went out and got Linval Joseph, and they went out and got the disaster class from the Giants, who I don't even feel like mentioning his name. It's Ford Phillips. But I would not be surprised if in a week, 2 weeks, they're just going to go down this road again and say, well, got to get somebody in mid to late August. That's actually a topic of the defensive tackle room breakdown we had. Feel like they're doing the exact same thing they did in previous seasons. Christopher doing a bit of trolling. Trade idea, 2026 fourth rounder for Panthers wide receiver TJ Luther. He can be our complement to Jonathan Mingo, which I appreciate the joke here. It was fun. Obviously, the Cowboys are not going to pursue that one. Luther, I think, had a couple catches against the Browns in the preseason game, so it was fun. Christopher also asked, are websites like Spotrac, are the contracts accurate with what the salary cap is? Because the Cowboys have $30 million in cap, as people say it would be hard to pay Micah, who would get 40 if we only have 32. So the numbers are right, but the numbers don't mean anything, or at least they can be misinterpreted if you don't have the true, I can say it because I know it, nerd, analysis, knowledge of what it is. So yes, you got around $32 million in salary cap space. By paying Micah, let's say it's 45, you actually create like $10 million in cap space. Like pretty much all contracts these days, the Micah deal is going to be backloaded. It's going to be cheaper in year 1, a little bit more in year 2, a little bit more in year 3, a little bit more in year 5. There are exceptions to that. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's a weird quirk to the salary. Maybe they didn't restructure a deal. But you would actually create cap space by paying Micah Parsons. You would then roll that over to next year. The Cowboys rolled over a bunch last year. They're going to roll over a bunch this season. So don't let the salary cap numbers say you can't pay Micah. You absolutely can. Now, today's show, you can get this Cowboys short sleeve hoodie. Chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. From Xavier Worthy, I think it was originally Xavier Worthy Burner, and he updated it to Fam. I am excited for our backs this season. I think Blue will separate himself from Sanders by midseason, and he and Williams will be a decent 1-2 combo. If you can get that outcome, you're probably pretty happy with it. I am nervous about it. I question just how good this running back room's ceiling can be. I think you can get by. I think you can survive. If Javonte looks more like he did earlier in his career, that's huge. If Miles Sanders, doesn't have the juice anymore, that's a huge concern. Lipke's going to be involved. Jaden Blue does have the juice, but look, two of those three guys at the top of the running back room with Lipke being a fullback are banged up right now. You got to get them healthy, and I want them to play in the preseason too. I do. From Chris. Hey, Tom. Probably missed it in prior videos. Try to watch them when I can. But what is it for how Tyler Booker has been adjusting? Remember hearing about him in rookie minicamp, but nothing since. He isn't going to be another Tyler Guyton, right? I don't think so. I think those two play styles and where they were at as prospects are very different. Booker is much more of a mauler in the run game. I kind of want to, I want to see him play at least week 2 of the preseason. I want to see what he's got. I just want to see it in live action that's not, against backups and stuff. I thought he did a pretty good job. Against the Rams in joint practice. It's not always been perfect. It's never going to be like speed guys might give him issues, but I don't have the same concerns about Booker as I had about Guyton coming out. I think that the weaknesses are quite different. So what is your confidence level in Tyler Booker? Let's say 1 is that one Chaz Green game. 10 is what Zach Martin has become, which I guess puts Tyler Smith a 7 or an 8, relatively speaking. So let me know in the comments section of today's show. Steven, week 1, is Micah at Philly or at home? Also, does Jerry focus too much on the past success? Reverse order, he absolutely does focus too much on the past. I think it was William who said in a super thanks or super chat, it was that the past drives Jerry and limits his future. Spot on. Micah, I think he'll be there against the Eagles. I would be surprised if Micah, who's not passing on $50K in fines, passes on $1.4 million game checks. I don't really see that one being an option. From Daniel, hey Tom, do you think we will sign Stephon Gilmore before the regular season starts? I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not going to guarantee it or say it's even 50%, but I don't think that one should be ruled out. It makes sense. The Cowboys have the need. They have the desire to add help at corner. They think they do. At least I think that they should. I would strongly consider that. $5 super thanks from William Cook, by the way. This is on the Rams-Cowboys joint practice, just practice in general. CD and Dak cooking. O-line needs work. Jared Verse, it was bad. He was so good that day. Run game not good, nor run defense. Sign Gilmore for cornerback help. He and I are on the same page. I very much agree with that mindset. So would you sign Stephon Gilmore? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Would you go out and add Gilmore to help out the cornerback room? It's Fat Boy Roy. Is that a Rico Dowdle profile picture in there? I can't quite tell. Trade for Breece Hall. I know that not credible Twitter accounts have tweeted out Breece Hall might be available. They propagate a lot of according to reports that have never been published, essentially, that Hall's available. I would be surprised if the Cowboys went down this route. I don't think he's available right now for the Jets. Now, I'll say this too. Let's check in again at the trade deadline. I think that is something that is worth considering and just monitoring. Okay, how do the Jets look? Are they bad or not at that point? Breece Hall, didn't do a lot in the first preseason game. I don't think that's too impactful. But like, Isaiah Davis had 6 carries for 14 yards. Braylon Allen actually ran the ball pretty well. But like, let's just let that one play out a little bit more. Got a Darkwing Duck username. Guys, you guys ever watched Darkwing Duck? Great show. We need to play our starters. The Chiefs do it every year, and all they do is win and go to the Super Bowls. Jerry's got PTSD from playing Romo and getting him injured. I get it. I don't know if there is a right or wrong answer. There's as long as there's like reason behind it, I understand like what the mindset is. Like, Eagles didn't play Jalen Hurts in the preseason last year. I think Hurts played like 2 preseason games in his career. They won the Super Bowl twice in recent memory. So if the mindset is, these guys need reps, we want to handle that, sweet. I think you're right. They are a little bit traumatized, and I am too, frankly, by watching Romo go down and never play again. I understand that. If you don't want to play the quarterback, okay, I get that. I think at times this kind of becomes like the same arguments on different sides. Like, if you're scared about, like, let's say it's 24 plays from Dak getting hurt. If you're scared about that, don't you have a big underlying issue? But also, if you think 24 plays, which is like a half a game of the regular season, if that totally changes your outcome for the season, don't you have a bigger problem there too? So it's kind of like the same argument on both sides, both of which are kind of valid. I'll say this. If you don't want to play Dak or Lamb or Micah, okay, you got to play Tyler Booker this week. You got to play Marshall. Those guys should be playing. We'll see if Schottenheimer takes that approach. Now, we'll be live for every single Cowboys preseason and regular season this year and beyond. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. I haven't corrected that Romo did play again in the 2016 season. Yes, but like also no. He didn't play a meaningful game, but you are correct there, KHY. Anyway, Token says, you think that this was Shotty hitting the 7-iron? I think it has fallen on rough play from our boys. Look, they weren't calling all the plays. They called a lot of 7-iron shots, but they missed the green from 155 out with the 7-iron or 165 out with the 7-iron. That's on them. Like, yeah, they didn't call the best plays. The quarterback didn't hit the 7-iron well because turns out he spends all his day at the range hitting driver, and he doesn't have a good feel for the iron game. That analogy works pretty well for Joe Milton. That's what happened too. Last one from Donnell Graves. Cowboys trade for Derrick Brown from the Panthers before the trade deadline. Sure would be fun. I wouldn't assume he's actually available, though. We'll see how Carolina looks by then. But I would, it's a fun idea. I wonder if he's actually going to be on the market, though.